Hey guys, I'm Damses. Welcome to the Omnic recap. Today's topic is a rather controversial one. The monetization of Overwatch 2. aka, is Blizzard getting greedy? Just a heads up, I'm recording this video 2 weeks before it's going to go live on YouTube. If anything should change in those 2 weeks, I'll re-record some parts of it. So don't be too worried if you see me popping up in a new t-shirt. I am not a wizard. Trust me, I've tried. I mean, I have the beard. You would think that would count for something. Anyways, let's get started. One of the complaints I've been hearing the most, well, actually once the technical issues were behind us, is the fact that the monetization of Overwatch 2 feels greedy. Now the thing is, most of that feedback is rather loaded, slightly biased, shooting from the hip, but that doesn't make it necessarily less valid, unless it's written in all caps. But I do think there's a lot of truth to all of these complaints. Now let me add some arguments to both sides of this discussion. From my standpoint, as someone that has been following Blizzard for over 20 years, that has been reporting on Overwatch for a long time, and that actually works in the game industry. First off, as I've stated in previous videos, people holding on to that old model where you put down $60 at the launch of the game and hope to save long on the price of loot boxes, need to let that go. This is something that worked back in 2016, but the industry has changed a lot over the last 6 years. We as consumers have changed a lot. Every title that was released since Overwatch 2 launched has raised the bar on the amount of content that they deliver. Fortnite, Apex Legends, Valorant, and the cost of all that content cannot be covered by $60 or 60 euros every 5 years. On top of that, loot boxes are a failed concept. For one, statistically, the more content you add to loot boxes, the less likely it gets that anybody gets anything out of the loot boxes that they like. See, if you throw 10 pairs of socks in a jar, the chance that you'll be able to pull out that pair of socks that you wanted is about 10%. When you throw 100 pairs of socks in that same jar, your chance drops to 1%. That's 99 chances of getting one of those 99 pairs of socks that your auntie gave you around Christmas. On top of that, legislation against loot boxes is spreading. We haven't had loot boxes here in Belgium for years, and it seems more countries are following suit. So the whole old model is not really future-proof. But how do you fix these issues? Subscriptions, that's the way World of Warcraft has done it in the last 20 years. But that would never stick for a shooter. Currently the standard with shooter games is a battle pass, which is kind of a subscription. It's a live service model, where our contributions actually help them to develop more content. In theory, that system is a win-win for everybody. We get a free game that everybody can play. You do not get an in-game advantage for not paying for the game. Well, maybe except for the new heroes being locked behind the battle pass, and you needing to put in time to unlock them. Not money though. Now personally, I find tier 55 a little too steep. I would have put it at 25, even if getting to level 55 in 2 weeks is not that hard. I got so many comments on one of my latest videos, how it was possible that I was already around level 50 with the little time I have to play the game. The answer is challenges. First off, I'm a flex player, and I play in a group, so I always get quite a lot of extra XP. But looking at your daily and especially your weekly challenges and completing those will make you jump levels like a bunny on sugar. But again, that being said, level 55 is too high. Their argument at Blizzard is, of course, hey, you guys are getting a free game. You can't fault us for trying to convince as many people as possible to buy the premium pack. Which might sound greedy, but it actually makes sense. They made Overwatch 2 free to play, but their costs have been rising every single year since they've been expanding the team. If they start handing out too much free stuff and nobody feels the need to buy anything anymore, they're just not going to make enough money. Now there are statistics on which percentage of your player base will put money in the game, but when you're just starting out, you want to make sure that you put as many things as possible in your own favor. It can all sound like a quick cash grab, but it is actually a quite stressing balancing act. I'm pretty sure they had some really heated discussions on this. I mean, the team put in all the time to make this awesome content, and they want as many people as possible to experience it. But on the other hand, they also need to eat, pay rent, and buy a boat. Oh wait, nah, that's just Bobby. Never mind. But that is a nice segue into my next topic. Corporate greed. The actual Team 4 at Blizzard, the team that develops Overwatch, needs money to pay wages, hardware, licenses, marketing, community, all that stuff. But once that is all paid, whatever is left goes to corporate. Okay, that is a bit of an oversimplification, but for the sake of this video, let's keep it at that. And when I say corporate, I'm talking about the holding Activision Blizzard, which will use those funds to invest in new products and other products. Anything they have left after that is going into the pockets of the shareholders. And of course, they decide how much is going to the new projects and how much is going towards that new boat. Now, in more balanced organizations, most of the profit is kind of reinvested into the company to make new products, to make better products, to grow the teams, which is a good thing. If we didn't have healthy corporate systems fueling the industry, we would still all have been playing Pac-Man. The fact that our industry has grown this big is because we keep challenging ourselves, and we want to make bigger and better products. But we need money to do that. And where do we get that money? Exactly. Now, specifically in the case of Activision Blizzard, I feel it might not be as balanced. Now, Blizzard, back in the day, always had the vision of a developer-first company. The product and the people were the most important asset. But I'm afraid that has changed to a corporate-first vision under the leadership of Activision Blizzard. In other words, I feel like lining the pockets of the shareholders is their first objective. At least for corporate. And the products, the games, are just a way of making a smaller pile of money into a bigger pile of money. And the people that work at the teams, they consider those their tools. But let's get back to the battle pass. As I said, they want to sell as many premium passes as possible. And sadly, putting Kiriko at tier 55 is a way to do that. The thing is, they could also do that by adding more legendary items to the battle pass. In general, I feel like the content in the battle pass is kind of on par with what competitors are doing. Not completely, but I've definitely seen worse. Now, they could always add more legendary items, but that raises two issues. First off, this is their first attempt at a battle pass. And judging by the rest of the game, they might have rushed it a little bit. In other words, they didn't really have the time to do this properly. Second, every legendary item they put in the battle pass is a legendary item they cannot sell. And since they're still ramping up the content, well, which brings us to the store. This is where I feel they need to put in the most work. But luckily, this is also the place where they can iterate the fastest. In my opinion, there are two glaring issues with the store. First off, some of the legendary skins that they're selling are not legendary skins, they're epic skins. We've seen this issue with Overwatch in the past, years ago, in Overwatch 1, and I had hoped that we had let it behind us, but it seems not. Especially some of those Junker Queen legendaries. I mean, they're not bad skins, they're just not legendary skins. They are epic skins, which is not setting the right tone and makes people feel cheated. But I'm going to attribute that one to a lack of time. Second thing, however, the prices. $20 or euros for a legendary skin? I mean, I've seen worse, but I've definitely seen better. So I guess Blizzard decided to park themselves somewhere in the middle, which might have been the wrong choice. The thing there is, again, that they want to generate enough income to kind of fuel the machine. And let's be honest, I think corporate definitely nudged upwards a little bit. Now, they need to make sure that the shareholders can buy trips to Mars for all their grandchildren around Christmas. But the question I asked myself repeatedly over the last 2 weeks is, wouldn't they have sold more skins if they had been at a lower price? And the answer is most likely. Would they have sold double to make up for the price cut? Probably. But, and I think this is very important, there's possibly also a design reason for making those skins so expensive. And this is where it gets interesting. I said earlier that our demands as consumers has gone through the roof. Why? Well, simply put, because we reach our goals too fast. And as soon as we do, we look for the next challenge, the next thing to add to our collection. And this puts a lot of pressure on the developers to keep pushing out new content. Because if we don't get our fix in Overwatch, we'll start looking elsewhere. So, in other words, if you make your skins too cheap, everybody will just buy what they want and start looking forward to the next update. But when they're a little more expensive, the user will start deliberating. Do I really want this? Do I play this hero? Maybe I should get that other one first and get this one later. Players will have to work to get the content that they want, at which point you kind of slow down the grind, and it gives the developer a chance to kind of stay ahead of the demand, even maybe a little too much ahead, because if the prices are too high, people get frustrated because of the high price, but also because there's going to be so much stuff that they want to get and they can't catch up. On top of that, psychologically, we'll cherish the things that we paid for a little more than anything that we've gotten for free. And let's be honest, in Overwatch 1, we could just get anything we wanted, and we got it just for the sake of owning it. But in the end, that is not healthy for a game. Making the skins a little more difficult to get will make them more valuable, appreciated, special, unique. In other words, you'll wear it with pride, and you have less of a chance to running into an enemy Reinhardt that is wearing the same skin you are. I hate it when that happens. See, we're no longer in the era of collecting stuff, but in a time where we need to pick and choose. We need to spend wisely, and with the amount of content that is coming in, I think that is best for everybody. But again, it needs to be balanced, which it currently is not. Hey guys, and here I am, interrupting past Damesies with this extra piece. Since I recorded this video, the Halloween event has dropped, and it seems that my not balanced was a bit of an understatement. The fact that the loot that you can get in-game by playing the game doesn't even include one single skin, and that both skins that they did add to the event are locked in the shop, one of them in an exclusive, even more expensive bundle. Well, that just reeks of corporate interference and greed. Now, I made a whole video about the corporate interference last Wednesday, so go check that one out. One thing though, I've seen a lot of people commenting or telling me that the whole bundle thing is illegal in some regions. And look, I'm not familiar with legislation about bundle sales in Europe, for instance, but I am European. That there is no better way to put me to sleep than to start talking about legal. Or you'll put me to sleep or it'll make me really angry. The thing is, the dirtier the corporate machine, the more and the better lawyers they have. In other words, they most likely have it covered. But we'll see how that turns out. I do want to add, stress even, that I am more than ever convinced that Team 4 would have loved to see things pan out differently. Well, most of them. The love and the passion that we've seen in this game does not match the quick cash grab mentality that we've seen in the monetization. So please, do not point your anger or your frustration towards those people, towards Team 4, the people that actually work on the game. They love it just as much as we do. I mean, putting in a tribute to your dead dog is not something you do with a game you don't care about. Beautiful. And however you voice your opinion, always stay civil. Alright, past Damesies, back to you. I personally think that they would get better results by dropping the price with 25%. They would sell more cosmetics while sticking with their rare is better philosophy, and as such slow down the grind, which all in all should end them up with more profit. Now, will they do that? Will they drop the prices? They might. Like I said, this is the first attempt at the battle pass and the shop, and it is easier to drop your prices than to raise them. So it makes sense that they started out with the highest number possible and see if it stuck. But they will be going over all of our feedback and over all the data. And if they agreed with everything I just said, they'll lower the prices, but not by half. I mean, some people have been asking for that, but don't get your hopes up. And the same goes for the new hero unlocks. They'll look at our feedback, they'll look at the numbers, and they might notice that they need to revise it, and our level 55 is a little too high. To be honest, I don't think they'll sell any less of these premium passes if that unlocks drops to 25. None. And in general, the community will be way happier. So I think that's a win. And yeah, I do think we'll see less epic skins being labeled as legendary. I certainly hope so. I'm not getting any of those, just for your information, Blizzard. Now tell me, would you be okay with a hero unlock at level 25? And what is a reasonable price for a legendary skin in your book? Let me know in the comments. For now, however, that was it. Thank you very much for watching. See you during my streams on twitch.tv/DamesiesTV or in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.